What's up, everyone? Today I want to dig into cold calling a little bit. I know there's a lot of questions about this subject, and I've been getting a lot of questions on it in my Facebook group. Just people, asking, what they should say, what kind of script to use, and how you're going to use this to the most benefit to get the most amount of leads. So I want to address this a little bit. But first of all, if you're not part of my Facebook group, make sure you do that. It's a free group. It's called Mastering Wholesaling and House Flipping with Estes. It's a good opportunity for you to connect with me and ask me questions. I'm very active in there. So, if you're interested in anything real estate related, make sure you join that. I'm happy to help people inside there, right? And it's a good community to meet other people as well. So let's get into cold calling though, right? So, so I know this can be a very intimidating subject, right? You're just calling someone out of the blue. You don't know what to say. So it is a little scary. So I just want to help you out a little bit so you have the confidence, right? And you know what to say. And not just that, but I want to give you a script and what to do so you're actually converting leads, right? So that's what this video is going to be all about. Now, I'm not going to go into too much on this, on the list that you should call, or what kind of motivated sellers you should talk to, because I have a bunch of other videos on that. I'll give a kind of a brief breakdown here of, the people that you may be calling, right? So the first way is just very basic. If you're just out driving for dollars, right? That's a perfect candidates to cold call, right? So if you're out driving for dollars in a day, keep a nice spreadsheet of all the addresses, right? As you drive around, then when you get home, you can just look up the owner on the tax assessor's website. So every city has this. Whoever pays taxes to that address is the owner. So all you gotta do is look up the owner. So, and then you can use what is called a skip trace service. Now, these are all over the internet. There's a lot of different companies that offer skip tracing, more and more every single day actually, because cold calling is getting more and more popular. So all you have to do is input the name and the address into the skip trace service, and it'll shoot out some numbers, and those are gonna be the numbers of the owners. Now, keep in mind when choosing a skip trace service, obviously some are better than others. There's a lot of free services, but keep in mind those don't always bring the best results. So paid service is usually always the best. Unfortunately, you get what you pay for. So cold calling, that's one simple way, right? Drive around, tax assessor, skip trace it, call them. The other way is maybe you're just pulling these manually. I teach this a lot of how people to pull these motivated sellers lists manually at the town or the county for like probates or pre-foreclosures or tax defaults, right? Same thing. All you're gonna do is take that information, put it into a skip trace service, or maybe you're buying a list off like ListSource or something like that. Same thing. They're gonna give you all that information and just put that into a skip trace service, name and address, and it'll shoot back some phone numbers, right? So it's very easy to do, very easy to do. Now, I want to talk to you about why cold calling is so powerful, really. And for me, in my business, I try to be as efficient as possible, right? I want to keep the expenses down here and I want to keep the profits up here. So for me, cold calling really is very efficient and it's low cost. So if you think about it in one way, the cost to a cold call is very, very inexpensive. To say you're pulling a list manually or you're driving for dollars, or even if you're buying something from ListSource, and then you're gonna skip trace it, maybe the total cost there is, 30, 40 cents per record or per person, right? Time you skip trace someone and pull the information, right? Now that's the same cost as one postcard. It's gonna cost you in between 30 and 40 cents. So it equals out 1 and 1. But as you know, the money is in the follow-up. Usually for me, it takes 5 to 10 postcards usually on average for someone to respond, right? Now, once you have that phone number, you can call that person indefinitely, many times as you want. Call them every day, right? Every week, every month. So your follow-up campaign can go on forever and it doesn't cost you any money. So think of how powerful that is opposed to one mailer, right? Or maybe it takes 10 mailers from someone to call back. That's gonna be $4 or $5 opposed to once you have the phone number, it doesn't really cost you anything to keep on calling that person. So it's like super inexpensive and it's super efficient because not only that, but you're being proactive, right? You're calling this person. You're not waiting for them to call you back, right? You're getting them on the phone and you're finding out if they're interested in selling. Now, obviously, if someone does call you back from a mailer, you do know they're interested. Sometimes when you're calling someone, maybe they're not interested, but you can have that conversation with them. You can open up the conversation, and if you're good on the phone, if you're good at negotiating, you can pull some pain points out of there, and maybe you can turn that from someone that wouldn't normally call in to someone that might want to sell, and possibly turn into a deal. So, it is very powerful. Now, not only that, once you get going on this, you can really scale this too. You can get a triple dialer, and you can call, a couple hundred numbers a day, and then, then you can hire this out as well. Like I have my business, I have VAs that cold call for me, and those people charge anywhere from like $4 to $8 an hour. You can call, each VA can call maybe 800 to 1,000 people or numbers per day. So you can see how this is able to really scale your business on a very inexpensive level. Now, obviously, I want you to start doing these cold calls yourself before you start hiring it out, so you learn everything. Okay? All right, so let's just kind of get into now actually the script of cold calling, so I can tell you exactly what to say, so you know what to say to these people, right? Very simple. Okay, so first of all, we're going to open it up very simply. Now, I want to say this too. This first call, is really about just building rapport with a person, right? Getting to know them, gauge their motivation, right? And kind of get an idea, of, what they want for the house, right? Get to know them, their motivation, and build rapport, right? This is not about negotiating on the property, so keep that in mind. So I just want you to get to know the person, right? So first of all, open it up. Hey, this is Nick with Florida Home Buyers. That's very simple first thing. I'm just calling because I'm interested in buying in the neighborhood, and I was just seeing if you might be interested or open to getting a free, no obligation cash offer on your property, right? Very simple. Open it up just like that. This person's either going to say yes or no. Then from there, you can take it. Either they say no, okay, well, keep me in mind if you're ever interested in the future, or do you know anybody that might be interested in selling? You can ask those questions if you want to. So very simple in the beginning. Ask that question. If they say yes, okay, say, okay, great. I just need to ask you a couple quick questions about your property. That way I can get a better idea for it and I can make an accurate offer. Okay, that's it after that. Then after that, you really just gotta go into your questions. So you can see how simple this is, right? So then you just say, okay, well, I just need to verify your address is, and then you put the address in that you have on file for the person. Most likely they're gonna say yes if you have the right data, right? Now, then you ask, are you currently living in this property or is it vacant? Now, you want to know this question because if it's vacant, obviously they have a little bit more motivation, right? So I like to ask that question. Then ask them a little bit about the property. How about the square footage, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms do you have, stuff like that. Get them to start talking about the property. Then I like to start asking about the condition, right? So this is where, obviously, it's always good to get this information. Usually the worse condition is, the better deal you can get. So have them start talking about the condition of the property. I like to open that up by usually saying, how's the condition of the home? How's the bedrooms? How's the kitchen and the bathrooms? Those been updated? How's the roof? On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the property, right? That will get them talking about the property a little bit in the condition. Make sure you're writing all this down in a spreadsheet or in your CRM too. So I forgot to mention that. Very important to keep notes on everything this person is saying. Okay? So as soon as you get that, I like to ask, so if we can come to agreement on a price that works for both of us, how soon would you like to sell? Right? So if they say, I could sell tomorrow, this person's very motivated. If they say, maybe 6 months from now, okay, maybe they're not as motivated as someone that needs to sell ASAP, right? You say, okay, no problem, good. Do you currently have a mortgage on the property that I would have to pay off? Right? This gets them kind of thinking of price a little bit, of how much they owe on the property. If they say yes, try to get the amount. Not all people on the first call like to give you this information, but try to get it out of them. And then the last question I like to ask is, what's a ballpark price that you might want for the property, right? So you're not asking them to commit to a price. Just get a general idea of what they might want, because this is going to tell you exactly where this person is, right? If they're at full retail, if they're saying they want above retail, okay, maybe it's not that good of a lead, but at least you got to talk to the person, right? So Okay, so those are kind of your like 10 questions, right? Now, then after that, once you get to the ballpark price, you can do one or two things, right? If it seems like a good lead, and going through this, I want you to set up an appointment to go look at the property. That's where you negotiate. That's where you keep on building your rapport. You can really go see the condition of the house. And from there, once you start negotiating, hopefully you can lock up the house, right? So if everything looks good, you say that, okay, looks great. Sounds like a great home. I'm definitely interested. This is just the type of property I'm looking for. When's a good time for me to come out? Or you can push for a time. You can say, oh, I'm available tomorrow at 5 p.m. Would that work for you? Something like that, right? So just really push to go see the property so you can negotiate a price and lock it up. Now, if they're not interested, if you're not interested, just let them know. Okay, seems good, and then maybe you want to follow up with them. And put them into a follow-up campaign. You don't necessarily have to go look at the property if they're not motivated and the price doesn't seem right. So you can just go and put them into a follow-up campaign. Maybe you're following up with this person maybe once a month or once a week, or whatever it may be, depending on the temperature of the lead. Okay, and I have other videos on how to gauge the temperature and how often to follow up, but this is not that video. So you just want to put them in a follow-up campaign, because you never know when people's circumstances change, and you may call them 6 months from now or a year from now after following up with them 10 times, and it may turn into a deal. Okay. So if it looks good, go see it. Now you're probably wondering, okay, how do I know if it's a good deal or not, right? Well, as you're talking to people, I always like to have a couple things up, right? I'd like to have 2 screens going, or just going back and forth on my tabs. I like to have a Google a map up, so I can kind of use a Google Street View, right? As you're talking to someone, and you can kind of see the condition of the home, what they're talking about. You can talk about their house with them a little bit. And then I also like to have up like Zillow or iComp.com, just to get an idea of what they think the value of the property is. Now, I'm not telling you to go by the Zillow value is the exact value of the property. We know that's not always true, or usually never true. But in most cases, I've found that Zillow value or the iComp value is usually within 5-10% max off, right? So they're usually pretty close. So you can gauge if Zillow says the price, the value is $200,000, and they say okay, I'll take $100,000 for it, then that's a really good lead, right? And you should go look at that property ASAP and lock it up. But if someone says, I'm looking for a $250,000, or they say, I want $300,000 for it, I won't take any less. And you're gonna get those phone calls, I get them all the time. $300,000, I won't take any less. Zillow has it at $200,000. Probably not that good of a lead. They're not motivated for one, and they're unrealistic about price. So use those 2 things as a gauge of whether you should go on the appointment and keep on pursuing it. Is their motivation based on the questions you asked, right? Are you living in the property? How soon you want to sell? Stuff like that can tell you their motivation. And then the price. Are they realistic about a ballpark price? Okay? So as you can see, then when you're going to do all your research as well before you go on that appointment as well. So make sure you do that. Don't just go by the Zillow value. Now you're going to have some time in between. You're getting off the phone call and you're actually going on the appointment. So that's when you dig in and do all your research and your homework on the property, so you know exactly, pull some comps, stuff like that, so you know exactly how much that value is worth, the ARV. And you kind of going into this meeting, you have an idea of how much you can bid, or how much you can go up to, how much your maximum offer can be, right? Obviously that can change a little bit when you get there, look at the condition, right, when you're estimating your repair costs. But you'll have a really good idea of what the after repair value is if you do your homework, okay? So do your homework, go to the meeting, lock it up, boom. Okay, so little recap here for you guys. Intro, hey, my name is blank, calling with your company name, whatever it is. I'm just calling to see if you might be interested in getting an offer on your property. Looking to buy in the neighborhood, right? Boom, and they're gonna say yes or no. Okay, great, I just need to ask you a couple basic questions about the property, so I can get a little better understanding of what your home is worth. Verify the address. Can I get the current, are you currently living in the house, or is it vacant? Verify the address. get the information on the beds, the bath, stuff like that. Get the condition. Have them rate it between 1 and 10, okay? Have them start talking about some stuff too, right? Have them talk about any repairs they've recently done, but mostly about stuff that is wrong with the property, how much updates it needs. That's really important. Find out how soon they'd like to sell if you guys can come to an agreement. Try to get a mortgage amount and then get a ballpark price, okay? So very, very simple. You don't need to make this complicated. Like I say, just gaining information on this call so you can gauge their motivation and how realistic they are. So you go on the appointment with a highest level of percentage, I guess, to lock that up, right? You don't want to be going on every single appointment if people aren't realistic, because you'll be wasting all your time and not locking up any deals. Put those people in a follow-up campaign. All right. I hope that really helped you. If you'd like some more help on this, or you want me to personally help you, you want me to mentor you, I do have a program. Make sure you go to 32daystofreedom.com. I'll put a link below. Those for people that want a little bit more help other than my free videos and want me to personally help them start doing some deals. So I'm happy to do that. Like I said in the beginning of the video, make sure you're joining my free Facebook group so you can interact with me, Mastering Wholesaling and House Flipping with Nick Estes. And obviously, if you found this video helpful, I would love for you if you share it, comment, show me some love on it, and follow me on Instagram at Nick Estes so you can see what I'm doing every day and kind of a sneak peek into my life. All right, guys, I appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you on the next one.